Back to the basics. Welcome to the King Mullah TV podcast. Welcome to the King Mullah TV podcast. Welcome to the King Mullah TV podcast, y'all. Welcome. All right. Welcome, y'all, to the King Mullah TV podcast. I'm your host, King. Thank you all for listening, for checking out my podcast. Listen to what I got to say if this topic interests you or whatever the case may be. I just thank y'all for even tuning in. So, today's topic, it's similar to the topic that I put before. When I put this episode out, it's the actual episode. I call it Back to the Basics, but it was called Back to the Basics because it was pretty much the salvaged, shortened version of what I'm doing with this episode. And there's another episode after this that's basically the same way for pre-locking out. I could say that. I run this whole thing, so I could say that. But I called it pre-locking, and that's the one that you would get after Back to the Basics. I needed to expand upon what I was going to say in those two. But for this one, for Back to the Basics, there's just a lot of people that really don't understand how valuable going back to the basics, and you can also say going back to square one, how valuable that really is. Because it could be a certain lifestyle, a path, a career, job, relationships, just basically life in general that allows you to go back and see, something that hasn't affected you in the same way, or it has, but its impact is a lot less. Back from when you first got that first feeling of whatever it may be, and it's a whole lot different now. And it can also be to like skill building. A lot of people who see people who have the skills that a lot of people find valuable, a lot of people are afraid that they won't ever measure up to that level of skill because they have to start from square one. And honestly, listen, that's like the best thing ever, to start from square one, to start back to the basics. You need the basics. And I said this before and I think I said it in the Back to the Basics episode. The basics can take you very far. And I don't think people truly understand that, because it really does. I'm like an expert at the basics. And I don't mind going back to square one. I have plenty of times. Actually, as I'm speaking now with what I'm doing with tech and stuff like that, I'm going back to learning what I am. But it's not like it's super new to me, because I am a person who loves technology, who loves to see new things come out with it. And, learning the intricacies and everything on the front end and the back end, and learning like how they, complement each other. That's what I do. I'm pretty much figuring out it as a whole overall. So I can dive into any field and be interested about it and just what they do. So that's the best part about it for me. But that's something I'm passionate about. Now, when people are doing stuff that they're not passionate about, it makes it a lot harder to even explore that certain thing, because they're not doing it for the reasons they're not doing it because they're passionate about it. They're doing it probably because some financial thing, like they just need it for right now, it's temporary. And I get that, because, a lot of things are happening in the world right now where people, they just get what they settle for what they can get. That's perfectly fine. But getting back to the basics, but I feel like a lot of people just step on over that and want to try all the advanced stuff. knowing good and well the basics is exactly what you need to start. You need the basics, the foundation. If you have a weak foundation, it doesn't matter what trick you use, doesn't matter if you're using AI or whatever. Now you're using AI to learn some advanced things without fully comprehending how to break it down on your own. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's not going to get you where you need to go. Well, it might get you where you need to go, but it's not going to benefit you in the long run. Honestly, I feel like you will be cheating yourself by not knowing the basics. At least know the basics, and then afterwards, if you want to move on to the next level, just do that. But a lot of people just don't have the discipline. I feel like they don't really have the discipline to really sit there and wait. A lot of this is attributed to a lot of things, but things that's been chanted amongst society, that we want things done quicker, we want things more faster, we want things more efficient, and then not understanding that efficiency isn't always about speed. There it is. Efficiency isn't always about speed. It's about results. It's about getting things done. And to me, the basics, and from what I've seen, what I've observed, and what I've experienced myself, the basics have taken me a long way. And I'm not kidding when I say that. It is really a valuable thing to know the basics of anything, really. Because how would you know how to do something if you didn't experience it at the very bottom? At the very beginner stages of whatever it is that you want to do. I'm just generally trying to understand why people aren't doing it. More of that. And obviously there's a bunch of beginner courses for, skills or whatever the case may be. Skills, and outside of, building up skills for yourself or self-improvement courses. It's not just like when people think of basics, they think of like elementary school. It's not that. Of course, the kids need the basics to read, write, and form sentences and be able to speak properly and be able to have people understand them. We need that, of course, because, they're the next generation. But somewhere along the line, people were thinking like, actually, that's probably an even bigger issue, what I'm saying. Some people think that they don't need to learn certain things in order to get better in life. I don't think that has something to do with society in general, and U.S. society, for sure, doesn't really take education as serious as it should. And we can see that with the nonsense going on in the politics and everything of it. So I think people need to understand, going back to the basics is going to be one of the best things for you to do. Okay, go back to square one. I know it sucks. It feels like when you feel like you have to start over, it feels like you sucks because it feels like you haven't accomplished what you wanted to because you have to go back. And the truth is, even the people who are very advanced and skilled, they often go back to the basics to improve their skills. They often go back to the basics. I was just watching this video the other day of a software programmer, right? And he was talking about coding. And he's saying that it's better that you solve the problems instead of just learning all the terminologies and the structures of it, or learning how to polish your code just to make it look nice and neat, instead of just knowing, does it work? It's better for you to fail many times and then just to succeed one time with one thing, but then not know how to correct that if it fails down later on the line. So I think people aren't trying to do the work. They're trying to they're stuck on shortcuts. Shortcuts are only good when you need them for some. It's a temporary solution. Shortcuts are temporary solutions. If we're going by like skill based, if we're talking about races, take shortcuts all that you can. But a lot of the times, if you If you need to learn something and you need to know something, the basics will help you. Practicing with the basics a lot will get you pretty farther, and often sometimes farther than knowing a lot of the advanced concepts. Because let them just pile on top of each other, or just stack up, or just utilize what you can. Just the information is out there. The information is out there. I need you guys to lock in. Because going back to the basics is exactly what you need to do. If you need to do that, okay? This is strictly for people that need to do that. Well, not strictly. This is something that people need to consider once more. It may suck, and it may feel like you feel like you're behind of those who don't have to go back to the basics, but I'm telling you, you're not behind. You're doing exactly what you need to do to better yourself, your future, and if you got a family, your family. If you can't count on yourself, can you count on them? Well, if your family can't count on you, are you really doing the best that you can? I think you should really consider and think about that. And if you're doing it for yourself, if you really need to, if you're the type of person who's alone and, you don't really have family to depend on, or they can't really depend on you, or the family's just not in the picture, you need to be able to depend on yourself. And listen, the basics of anything, I tell you that, the basics of anything, doesn't matter what new thing comes out, what new technology, new strategy, new gameplay, whatever the case may be, utilize those basics to the fullest. I'm telling you, it is something that people should really, really consider. Because I'm working proof of that, like just knowing how to do certain things that I looked at as a kid, where I looked like, wow, they do a lot of things. And some things, like when you start learning something new, it looks very intimidating. I understand that. I had that feeling before. But then I'm just like, I know what's at the end of it. So I will definitely go through the stages of becoming better at it. And I think people really need to take that into account. People I really do wish people would just pay attention more to the details of the basics, because it really does benefit you in the short run and long run, actually. So I'm just saying, people need to. Let me see. Did I do one yesterday? I hope I did. Okay, I'm good. All right. I need y'all to understand it's the building blocks. The building blocks of whatever you want to do, going back to the basics. It's not over. Your life's not over when you have to start over, okay? Your life is not over when you have to start over. It's not. And it sucks to be in positions like that. Life is testy right now. Even for me right now, it's just trying to figure out exactly what I need to do next, but I'm going to do it. I got to do something. And I'm definitely going to make the best decision with all things considered. So, yeah, I think people really need to lock in on that. And that's going to be the next episode that I'm going to do after. Okay. So, that being said, drink y'all water. Okay? Very important. Very important. Hydration is very important. I love it. Hydration is very important to me, and I'm definitely going to drink some water. After this, absolutely, I will. And if you don't got no sunlight, because it's been raining, but that's Florida, and past the rainy season, it's hurricane season. Hurricane season has been in full effect since June. So we getting afternoon showers, regular stuff for the summer season. Nothing new out of the ordinary. So if you don't have no sunlight, get them vitamin D dietary supplements. Consult a physician, your physician, dietitian, nutritionist. Get all the nutrients up to date, and living a better life. And be kind to people, because you don't know what they're going through. World is insane right now. The world is You know, a lot of things are being repeated and history is being repeated, and a lot of things are, some people are living in outdated times, or they're trying to make the times 2025 into outdated times. So whatever, it's affecting everybody. So like I said, just be kinder to people, except for the ones that are doing it to us. Them, you can let loose. But yeah, make their day better, make your day better, be kind to people. So I'm King. It's the King Moolah TV podcast, y'all. I'm out of here. Doozable.